Led Zeppelin song, Ran Along. No, that's Ramble On. I was close.
I thought it was Rat On.
Ran Along.
Rat On.
Ramble On by Led Zeppelin. Not that we want more lead in the environment.
No, we don't need any.
But more Led Zeppelin in the environment wouldn't be too bad. Just saying. We're partying here, Libby. Wait, let me get my leftover right here. Science to me is always a party, Robert. It just is.
Hey, it's a party where everyone is invited.
Yeah, that's right. And that's right. Okay, the music. It's let me let the boys finish out their little. I love that part so much.
The Morocco boys of science.
They do such a good job.
They really do. You know, we need to advertise and see if there are any Morocco girls of science.
Oh, I'm sure they're all, you know.
Yeah. Actually, they're probably so talented that they're doing something else.
They could be.
Okay.
The Moroccans, I love it. Yeah, Moroccan musicians are very.
They're just.
I would just like to say, what a wonderful morning here for Radio Science News.
It's truly a wonderful morning. It's a beautiful, crisp beginning of our day. It's sunny. It's supposed to get up to 70s, low 70s Fahrenheit today. I'm real excited. Hey, I just want to put a shout out to anyone from Grant County who happens to be listening in. Last Saturday, October 15th, today is October 22nd, Libby and I did our third Dark Sky Awareness Star Watch in Grant County, West Virginia.
Great place to do it.
At the Echo Park there.
Echo.
It was really, really, really good. Their sky quality from the sky quality meter in magnitudes per square arc second.
That's how I always measure it too.
That's how everybody does it. Was 21.35. The darkest place in Grant County so far has been the Dam 7. That was a 21.66.
This dark skies awareness is something that we continue to work on. I know that it could be better, and we all want to make it better. Yes. So,
and then I want to do a shout out. Last night, we had a Star Watch at Brook Hills Park, and even with the not great conditions, one of the people that showed up last night is Jason Monroe, and Jason Monroe brought a little thing with him. It was a telescope attached to a clock drive, attached to a camera, and the camera was attached to a transmitter, and he was taking what I consider
great images,
3-inch telescope last night. He was taking time-lapse images of dim galaxies.
Yeah.
He was taking pictures of nebulas in color.
I love that the dimwit nebula.
The dimwit nebula, yes.
It's one of my favorites.
You can only see them in Washington D.C. skies.
That's very true.
It was spectacular, and he really inspired me. I am going to contact him today and say, you know, give me a list of stuff that I need. And you need to teach me how to use this because, wow.
Well, one of the things,
it was amazing.
Even as you and I and other folks have worked as hard as we can to try to make the skies better and all, that one of the areas that has improved vastly is the technology of using a telescope, including cool things with adaptive optics, with software that stacks images. I mean, that's one of the biggest deals. And I'm sure he's probably using a big combination of all those. And so you have to.
He is. And what I thought was astounding was, see, for me, astrophotography has always had a learning curve that is almost vertical.
Yeah.
It's also
equipment intensive.
It's also a lot of equipment and expensive equipment.
Yeah.
You have to learn new software and on and on and on. So it's this arduous, very time-consuming, very expensive, long-term commitment before you get anything done. And then once you're at the pinnacle of this, you're away from the telescope, you're in another room, you're stacking images, blah, 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 blah. And then you get this image. Last night, Jason was standing there with his iPad.
Right.
And we were 20, 30 feet away from the telescope, and we were talking about stuff. And he goes, "So, what do you want to look to next?" And he'd pull up the image of the sky. He would literally click on the map for the object. The object would get big. The telescope would slew over. You could actually see the software talking to the telescope and slewing it in. And then he says, "So, shall we stack a
see, that's where it all...
3 second image?" So we did that, and then we'd look at it, and then he'd go, "Hey, let's do a whole bunch of 3 second images. Let's do 25." And while we're talking, you could literally watch the thing build up right in front of you.
Yeah.
And he called this not astrophotography. He called this electronically assisted astronomy. I just want to say that phrase again because I've never heard this. Electronically assisted astronomy. And I was smitten. I want to do this so bad because it turns out that the technology has finally caught up with.
I know, we've been talking about
you and I have been
different things
talking
like
about
this for years. Yeah.
That this should be for 25 years. And the technology, the not just the electronics and the optics and the mechanics, but the software has finally caught up.
Oh, there's no question. Yeah.
Oh, I'm just as I said, I am smitten with this that I can finally do what I want to do.
Where's my music?
I don't know. Hello.
The aliens are trying to. You know what it is? I think they're trying to get us back on track. We're gonna, as they say, number 2, make it so.
Let's do it. Hey, so for all you folks out there in Radio Land, if you want to get to the launch pad of science, there's 2 ways. You can either go directly there, or you can go the long way.
Take the long way home.
Which always is an adventure.
It is an adventure.
I suggest going to www.smartcenter.org, SMARTCENTER.org, and once that page pops up, look part of the way down the page, and you'll see a little trifecta rainbows of in triplicate the words Radio Science News and Script. Just above that is the live link.
Live link is the key thing here.
The live link, yupperoni. It's really, really cool. So,
well, and the reason why I stress live link is when you get to the launch pad of science, as Robert will, as he pops his up, mine's already up, we have a lot of stuff up, a lot of information up. In fact, we often don't get to all of the information and all the links, but having them in front of you. So as we, for example, I have the beginning of today's show, I have United Kingdom Wind, Ørsted, Equinor, Green Steam, TED Talk, Einstein. You know, there's so many things that we're probably not going to get to all of them,
but
they are there as live links so that during the time when you would be listening to us ramble on about science, I have to bring a guitar for that.
I think so.
The live links mean that you can follow and you can be looking at the same stuff we are. So, Robert, I have UK Wind, Ørsted, Equinor, Green Steam, TED Talk, Einstein, Pancreatic, Gamma Burst, Radiance, Salt Prince, Lucy, Ionic, Transition Zone, Volcano, and of course the most important story for a lot of the people in our world, the announcement of the NASA Unidentified Area Phenomenal team yesterday that came out. You may not have seen that.
I didn't see that.
You were out. You were actually observing things.
I was actually working on a grant for the last 2.5 to 3 days with my wonderful wife, and so I've sort of shut down. And then I went to the Star Watch last night. So I
You've
really
been focused.
haven't
Not to make a pun,
seen
but-
news for a couple days. Yeah.
And I'm going to say, before even getting all this stuff, I know I did get reports from various folks who were places where they could observe. I have a daughter who was in a nice dark area on the West Coast where the Orionid meteor showers, which kind of were supposed to like peak last night into this morning, but they don't despair. They actually are sort of a longer.
Yes.
They could be cool things could happen
They're
in
there for days.
for any. So go out at night, especially if it's clear tonight. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I said to you I think last week, Robert, about the International Space Station.
Yes.
Early morning observation opportunities, which. See, since I'm an early morning guy, and of course the chickens always get up to look for the space station, and when they see it go over, we mentioned some of the fantastic ones. The sky is falling. Literally the one that was really spectacular, Thursday, October 20th at 7:02, which we mentioned last week.
Yes.
7 minutes at 70
That's
degrees.
really amazing.
I'm just going to say there was another great one Friday, and then. The one that I was able to finally get it together, I got up this morning and saw the one at 7:03 a.m., which was a 6-minute, 41-degree.
Wow.
It was spectacular because the sky was very clear. The sun was coming up, and you could still see some stars. But to see the International Space Station blazing through all of that was so. There are a couple of good ones coming up. Literally tomorrow morning, 6:17. A lot of people go, "Oh, I don't want to get up there early," but you can get up Monday.
If you're listening live with us, or whatever, if you go in the launch pad of science,
there's a link
just above that teal blue stripe. You'll see our emails, and then right above Richard's email is a live link to the space station.
And I'm just going to say that if you were to get up, and as I say, we are kind of early risers out there on the farm
with the chickens.
I'm just, So tomorrow morning, Sunday, October 23rd at 6:17 a.m., which means it'll be a little bit darker. You'll just be getting a little, hot iron glow of the sun coming up in the east.
I like that hot iron glow of the sun.
But this one is going to be a 4-minute that's going to be as high as 69 degrees, which means it's practically overhead. Straight overhead would be 90 degrees. So, and all the information is there. It's going to come directly out of the west, and it's going to disappear over the northeast. It's going to be like flying right over your head. It will be spectacular. So, this is one of the reasons.
Really looking forward to that.
This is one of the reasons why we can never get through a show, because we realize there's great science happening everywhere.
You know what? I was just talking to my wife just this morning as we were laying in bed, going, "Oh, it's so nice and warm in here, and it's cold out there."
But baby, it's cold outside.
and I said, "I'm going to go down and listen to the news and I catch the weather." And she goes, "Oh, listen to the news." And I said, "But you know what? Today's Saturday." And we're going to be doing radio science news.
Stuff, I'm telling you.
And I said the thing is, when you listen to local and national and international news, there's always bad news. Yeah. But in radio science news, it's almost all good news.
Well,
because these are things that we're finding out. These are improving.
These are real things
and real things.
Data,
not man-made nonsense like wars.
Well, yeah. Well, listen, we have all these stories. I'll tell you, let's just jump to the end of the links there to the NASA UAP.
Okay.
I still like the idea. Well, they call it the NASA UFO study, but again, they mention that it's called, now it's aerial phenomenon. They show, of course, that great jet camera from the what's the slave on it, LST-6. It has all the data of the stuff they've been looking at, and anyway, it said in June that the space agency announced that it had commissioned a panel to investigate UFOs, or as they have recently been rebranded, unidentified aerial phenomena. It's a UFO, just.
Yes, speaking in alien tongues again, are you?
Yeah, because if you go someplace and say you a P, you could be in trouble.
Yup.
So anyway, it basically, it literally begins its work Monday morning.
Wow.
And here's this update that just came out October 21st as you were preparing for the Star Watch.
I was. It says in June, the space agency announced that it had commissioned a panel to investigate UFOs, or as they have been recently rebranded, unidentified aerial phenomenon. Notice that I had to change my voice for that.
Oh yeah, well that's very professional.
Why? Thank you.
Phenomena.
The catchphrase in
Yeah.
science education.
Phenomena.
Oh.
Phenomena.
I love that little song.
The independent study will begin in the fall and will cost less. They should say and will cost less than $100,000 and last about 9 months. So why did it take from June until October?
They had to trim it down, I guess.
Oh yes,
make it cheaper.
Down to under $100,000. You know, there are billionaires out there that would spend $45 billion on like TikTok or something.
Oh, yeah.
So why can't we spend a little bit more money on this?
I can't tell you, Robert. I'd have to kill you. Okay,
No. Okay, the study doesn't aim to be the last word on UFOs. It will look at previously collected UAP observations, the unclassified ones, only leaving out sensitive military data. Well, see, it's the sensitive military data that we all want to see, focusing on how they could be better organized and analyzed in the future to shed more light on mysterious sky sites. So we're probably not going to learn anything new. This sounds like that they're going to collect all of the known stuff and see if they can't put it in some kind of a classification.
No, you might be right. and then not let anybody say.
And
no,
then,
it's.
And then they
I'm going to hold
classify the classification. Yeah.
I'm going to hold some hope in this, but I mean the fact that it's coming out, and I'm not going to say it's low budget, but because I know there are certainly many other things going on
well, it says that the independent study will begin in the fall. Well,
that means Monday.
It is October 22nd, so I assume that they mean like
Monday.
Soon,
they said they're
right.
starting Monday morning.
Okay.
I can't.
All right, Monday morning, October 24th.
And if a big, proton beam from somewhere else in space disrupts the meeting.
Take that, Earthlings.
Don't go to Cuba. That's what no. All right. So anyway, that's cool. I'm happy to see that going on. We will certainly follow it, and we will.
I am too, because for decades, and when I say decades, that's just me.
Oh yeah.
Doing this. I've been watching this closely and studying it, and I've actually participated in searches and so forth. It would be nice to actually get some kind of a data started somewhere that could possibly either say that this is just some ongoing hoax, or there's something real, and finally get.
Well, and the only thing that's a little disturbing is that even as we for the first time look at this and read it, it's kind of clear that but we're going to put a whole bunch of this stuff off to the side. Well, here we go again. All right, I wanted to jump into. I have a whole section up here at the front because I just happened to see. I saw a weird story. And it reminded me that if I were to search on Radio Science News back, I'm going to say 8 years or whatever, we spent a lot of time because we knew people that were very excited about offshore wind power.
Yes, and for the listeners, Radio Science News has been ongoing and not missed a single week for 16 and a half years.
Oh,
so
my
just
goodness.
I just want to mention that.
How old are these guys anyway?
Yeah.
So what I saw an interesting story about a company. Of course, I think this was either a Finland or from Finland or Norway. I almost said Norwegia.
Norwegia.
Get your squeegee off my windshield. They were talking about how they're building the biggest wind farm in the world. It's off it's near the shores of Kent, which used to be a big cod fishing area, but now the fishery has been depleted so much what these guys came in and they're putting it. So let's take a quick. Here's the part that's frustrating to me. We have talked for years and years with people who were trying their best to do offshore wind in the United States, including not necessarily in the ocean, but one of the greatest places for offshore wind energy production is Lake Erie,
Right.
the southern shore of
yeah,
Lake Erie.
yeah.
And so when they were saying they're doing some in the United Kingdom, I was thinking, oh yeah, well, how much could they be doing? So
A lot.
I did my first search was to this, this is from lindyenergy.com, and it basically it's a link about the
So wow, this is neat. So it talks about what is offshore wind energy. Wind energy is a renewable energy source powered by wind gusts in the ocean off the coast. Okay, makes sense.
Okay, so and I'm going to warn folks that we are going to blast through these topics
Sure.
because I think there are a couple little points. The first thing I'm going, well, look at this map.
All right, so I'm scrolling down a little bit and I'm finding a map.
There's a big map. Wind power
And,
already in operation.
Look.
Look at all these.
Now, what I'm intrigued by is if I were going to be putting wind farms in the UK, I'd probably want to be putting them further north, but that's just because there's probably more wind there.
Yeah.
But these are closer to the population centers.
Well,
Right.
and they're also, but when you scroll down, you go, oh my gosh. So the one that I would think was mentioned in the news thing I saw was the Hornsea offshore wind farm, located in the North Sea, 75 miles off the coast of England, operated
Yeah.
by Ørsted, with their
Ørsted.
little slash through the thing there.
I like the slashy Ørsted.
So, but basically, we're looking at, but then I'm going, oh, wait a minute. And then there's Dogger Bank off Yorkshire coast. Then there's the Inch Cape. Then there's the Erebus Wind Farm.
So whoa. So the
East Anglia.
So the Hornsea Phase 1 has installed a capacity of 1.2 gigawatts.
We're talking
Phase
big.
2 is 1.4 gigawatts. Phase 3 and 4 will have about 3 gigawatt capacity combined. Wow, after
is a lot.
all three phases, the total installed capacity will be up to 6 gigawatt of renewable power.
Yeah. Okay. So now, having said that, if you
Wow.
also, well, people are saying, man, you guys are just rushing me down to the bottom of this page. There's a list of the
rush.
offshore companies that are involved. So there's
I see 'em.
Ørsted. Now, I was also
Are
interested.
there any U.S. companies?
Well, in a sense, because we're going to get to
Okay,
that.
all right.
I did notice Equinor. Now, folks in this area
yes.
may be going, Equinor.
That sounds
Well, Equinor was, as I was telling you, how the people from Sweden and Finland and these other folks
Mm-hmm.
realized, they had all this North Sea energy, but they basically control a whole bunch of the natural gas and stuff here in this Appalachian region.
that's what I've seen
So I
them.
thought they were
Okay.
interesting. So let's go back to the launch pad of
launch pad.
science,
Okay.
and we're gonna click on. Let's see what these
Ørsted.
Ørsted folks have to say.
Ørsted.
I think I went too far. Wait a minute. Here we go. Okay. Ørsted, and of course they didn't have their little line there when I put it up, whatever that little use earned to burned it.
Burned it.
So this is from Ørsted about us, green energy solutions, and I think the thing that surprised me was just how big these operations are. We're leading the world in offshore wind right here in the UK, and this may be. I don't know if this is, as Joe Biden says, it's not hyperbole. Limitless supply, limitless opportunity. I think this is a nice way to look at it. Here's what I did not expect. The United Kingdom is the world leader in offshore wind. More capacity installed than any other country.
Says by 2030, the UK will be getting about a third of its electricity from offshore wind.
Think of the chunk of green energy.
That is going to take some food off of the table of the natural gas,
Well,
coal, and oil
And the
folks
thing is,
too.
there's no reason why all these things, like Ørsted's involved in all these other things, as is Equinor. But now here's the offshore wind is one of the country's biggest growth industries, already employing thousands of people in highly skilled jobs and attracting billions in investments, transforming coastal communities. So I heard I think it was Ali Velci or somebody who was talking to some folks in Detroit about the fact that, wow, something really crazy has happened that people didn't expect, except, as I will say, you and I, and even
Right.
when we were on Howard Monroe show, before we did this, the early radio science news things, we always said there is no reason why business and environment don't coexist to the benefit.
hand in hand, and everybody being happy.
So they said something about the Detroit car industry. They said, you know what, this weird thing has happened. The people who are all about business and making money and the environmentalists have found out that they're basically on the same team.
They are.
And-
They
and that was shocking to some
They
people.
want good-paying jobs, and they want to leave the world a better place for their
Well,
kids.
and the thing is,
Duh.
this switch into these technologies and these energies are part of it. Now,
Look at the size of these
well,
things.
okay, before you, these are big.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
I was going to say,
I'm
you will
jumping
see that
ahead.
first picture, right?
Yes.
They are big. Now, there's a lot of information on here, and I really want folks to read it because right now, 7 million homes are powered right now. But scroll down, when Robert said, well, these look like they might be big. I want you to scroll down to generating renewable energy with the world's biggest offshore wind turbines. When
So
you
how big are these things? I mean, I don't. So they have the little Vinderby.
That's the original, yeah.
1991, and it's this little dwarfy thing that is maybe I don't know.
scroll down, you'll get it. Here we go.
A fifth of the size.
Oh, and I agree with you. I wish they had the exact.
Yeah.
Because
So
they have a bunch of sort of stuff that they want people to remember as soundbite kind of things. Because if you scroll down,
So it says that the Hornsea Project 2 offshore wind farms, each of these things will be 18 times as powerful as those used in the Vinderby.
yeah. So the scale
World's
they've scaled
first
up.
offshore farm located at the Danish islands of Lolland.
Yeah. So of course the other thing too, you might even say, well, maybe you could put 6 blades on them instead of 3. But I'm not gonna tell these people how to run their thing. But here's the thing I saw. Down at Ørsted where they show the big thing, it shows that a single rotation.
Yes.
One rotation
Can power a household for 29 hours.
for 29 hours.
And
Or
if
you could
sit and
store
watch
some
the
of that.
things go,
Yeah.
every one of those is a house being powered for over a day.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
All right. So anyway, that's
Okay, that's,
please
that
take the
is-
time
That
to
is very, very
to
well
read
done.
more about Ørsted. I'm going back to Equinor because I was surprised to see Equinor
Hey.
in there. Yeah.
I just want to say that there's 31.5 million seconds in a year.
Yeah.
So with
I did that math too when I was a kid. I like that.
With one of these things, you can power 31.5 million house days a year and still have some energy left over.
Oh, I've got some energy left over.
So if you had 365 of these, you could power 31.5 million homes easily.
Yeah. Well, so
Just-
so
I'm just
the reason why
Doing the mental math.
the reason why Equinor jumped out at me was because as I said, I was aware that this company Equinor, which is not an American company,
Right.
is deeply invested in everything energy in the United States and around the world.
Probably
Well,
because they don't have coal fields.
Well, well, the other thing too is they have found out that they can go and do good things around the world,
And
so
still make money.
so here,
Oh, I like that.
here's this big news from Equinor Corporation. This week promoted, and there's a link, promoted Molly Morris to president of the company's U.S. wind division.
So this is in the link Equinor.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so the big deal here is that, and again, this is we were talking about doing the wind power off of New England, and this is talking about, it says the American Clean Power Association Offshore Wind Conference in Providence, Rhode Island. Why does it matter? Equinor is among the world's largest developers of offshore wind. It brings particular expertise in building floating platforms, which are vital off the Pacific coast. But it says, but the company traces its roots to oil and gas, and the energy crisis in Europe has prompted Equinor to reinforce its fossil fuel commitments as well. So I'm
Makes
going.
sense.
So these guys, it's kind of when people said, well, you should do all the above and then see which one makes sense. Well, that's kind of what
they
they're
did.
doing. It says the company is investing $23 billion in its renewables and low carbon solutions through 2026. But down here, the big deal is it's got the first offshore wind areas leased in the Pacific, and it's now developing 3 offshore wind projects near New York. Again, as you pointed out, hey, I wonder where would be a good place to make this electricity.
Next
How about
to
where they're
large population
Yeah.
centers that are on the coast. And you know what? There's a lot of large population centers that are very near the coast.
And the thing that's kind of interesting here, they're part of their technology is floating platforms.
Yeah,
which
great idea.
which obviously could even be moved out of the way if there was big issues.
And-
Anyway, a lot of good stuff happening here.
Wow. This is very cool.
Again, they also mention they're talking about stuff is expensive because of inflation and all that stuff. It says one of their big current priorities is, and this is where their original money came from, oil and gas projects in the North Sea, and they're expanding in the North Sea because I think there's a little sentence. I'll just read this and
Please
people can. A lot of that has to do with Norway. Again, here's Norway having very beneficial tax schemes that were presented during COVID. Plus, with Russia cutting off gas supplies to Europe, Equinor is now the top supplier of natural gas to Europe. And
well, thank you, Russia.
And so I'm just
nicely
saying,
done.
I don't know how to. I was looking for I was looking for my Babel translator because I was trying to figure out what was the Norwegian phrase for nan. No, I'm not.
Nanny nanny boo boo.
No, I just want to say that there are good things. Again, there are good things happening here.
Wow, talk about a silver lining.
Well. Okay, the other thing, I now have a link. The next thing up is Greene Steam. I'm going, what is this Greene Steam guy? Who is this? Another guy with some crazy idea about how you could even... one of the things that people have understood, what is this? Look up. I'm trying. Oh, it wants me to... I don't want to do that.
Of course you don't.
I don't want to continue. Okay, so here's a picture of the Greene Steam engine. Now,
what a swoopy looking.
Well, and this is only
a
little 3-cylinder one. That's the 3-cylinder.
That's the 3-cylinder Greene Steam engine.
Now, the reason why this is up
horsepower.
here and the actual link, somehow let me click back. I somehow got onto. I didn't want just this picture of it, but maybe I might have posted the wrong link. And in that case, let me double check. Greene Steam, TED Talk. Okay, so this is actually one of the images. If you look down here, there's a thing that has YouTube. Click on that, and I think that's the one.
All right.
The long story short on this, and when I say long story, I guess we should have scrolled down. There's a whole bunch of plans for this do-it-yourself engine.
Oh, so he's not selling you this; he's letting you make your own.
He's like there's these patents and they're selling plans for him. The thing that's people look at these and they go, "Wow, this is kind of weird." There's the 3-cylinder direct drive, which is kind of nice. There's the 4-cylinder,
There's 15. A 6-cylinder. Flex rod 2-cylinder. Wow.
I'm thinking that.
Oh, there's one working.
Where is that's what I was looking for.
Okay. It's about halfway down the full page.
Is it the 6-cylinder or is it the?
It looks like
it is. There it is.
4-cylinder, maybe.
Okay, so the point of this is that, folks, I actually have had the honor,
or 8 maybe,
as a small child.
I was a small child once.
Driving on the Ohio Turnpike to go visit my wonderful cousins in the Cleveland area. And we were driving in my dad's 1959, Ford station wagon, and guy goes past us in a Stanley steamer, and my dad goes, "Oh, there's a Stanley steamer." One of the things that people have understood is that steam power, in some ways, is almost mysterious because there can be immense amounts of work done with
a phase
change,
yeah,
which is
it's just phase change.
It's one of the bigger things. People go, "Oh no, it's much more sophisticated to have multiple explosions in a cylinders
as opposed to phase change."
As to phase change. and when I say that, people are going to go, "What are you guys? Are you like steampunks?" Yeah, we are. Robert and I are big steampunks.
Absolutely.
The kind of little thing that you're looking at here, this is the Z8 engine. I think this actually may be.
Z8 is really cool, and then below that is a 2-cylinder, which is just a funky fun.
Yeah, because you can see that it has a flexible, it has that little flexible thing that's delivering to the. I think this one up above. If I'm looking at the coppery looking things, that must be the actual pistons.
It says typically the exhaust steam is condensed and pumped back into the boiler to increase efficiency. A small pump on the engine pumps the condensed water into the boiler for a closed loop system.
All right, so this is the important thing about all of this.
Whoa. So you don't have to keep adding water. No. It just keeps doing what it do.
Wow. And you could use dew or maybe even Mountain Dew. The thing about this that is so profound is what you're really talking about is getting an immense amount of work done with very little changes in heat.
Wait. It says the DIY engine in the plans is a 2-cylinder, 10-horsepower version made with mostly off-shelf parts.
Well, there you go. But if you haven't got a shelf, where are you going to?
Oh, no.
No. Okay.
Okay, right. I'm sorry. I'm
So,
sorry.
right,
I just saw that and I was like, what?
Well, the thing is that actually, I hate to say it, but this stuff is really so exciting that the reason why my next link there is that this gentleman that kind of started this whole green steam thing has a really exquisite TED talk
Okay.
that goes through and we're certainly not. If I'm going to just click on it, so when it comes up, it's for first of all, I'm going to get ads and stuff, and I'm not even going to be interested. But yeah. Skip ads, thank you. I love that guy, Skip. Skip ads.
Skip ads.
Okay, and then it's Robert Greene, and it's
It's a fairly short. It looks like it's two.
Man, no, that's
something's coming up that's 2 minutes 48 seconds on mine, but
that's going to be another ad thing. But this is from the Steve Mazan at the Mission Viejo in California, and this thing is called "The Surprising Future of Steam Power" with Robert Greene, who's doing the talk. And I'm just going to say, I think it's if I click down, I thought it was like 17 minutes. Yeah, it's like it's 18 minutes long.
Yeah.
Anyway, it starts, and I'm just going to say, if you listen to this, and first of all, realize that this is an older thing. It's been around. He goes through and explains to you all the reason why, just to what Robert mentioned just a second ago. The kind of steam, the technology, there are several, we have talked about these, there are several companies that have, one of them, I think, won the some big award in 2008 for the most innovative thing. Mm-hmm. It was an adiabatic, which is a term referring, it was the type of steam engines where, like it's a closed loop. And some of the stuff has been incorporated into some car technology. And the idea is that the amount of energy or the amount of work that you can do with the fact that if Robert comes to me and he said, look, I've got some water here in this flask and it's 100 degrees centigrade.
Right.
And I can somehow put that in the thing, and then I can add enough of that to cause it, I can add enough energy to it to cause the phase change that turns it into steam.
Right, and it takes up 300, 400 times the volume. It is going to push stuff.
It's going to push stuff. Now, the other part of it that I think I was watching something about steam engines and why they were so powerful that I had never grasped, was that you could also have that big chamber. Say, if you had a big chamber that held, oh man, it would hold a whole bunch of gas.
And then you cooled it down.
And you filled it with steam. The thing that is really powerful is that
it would then pull stuff.
The vacuum, the vacuum produced when this thing collapses is enormously powerful.
So
what if you could do both?
When you go from liquid to steam, you can push a piston.
You can do a lot.
And when you go from steam to liquid, you can pull a piston.
Yeah.
And that's the push-pull system that makes these things work.
Well, and a lot of times that people, they didn't even, an awful lot of the systems, I'm just going to say that this guy that's doing the TED Talk along with him points out that, he's a former Navy guy that was stationed on a nuclear submarine.
Right.
Well, in those cases, they're not even making use of the thing that you and I just talked about because they're typically turbines.
Right.
And even if you're, and people are going to go, what are you talking about? Tesla turbine. Even if you're something really efficient like that, that's not even the same thing as having because you're just really blowing that steam and making the turbine spin. You're completely ignoring the fact that when that steam goes into a chamber
and pull it.
You get all that back.
I just wanted to say one of the wonderful demos that we do here at the Smart Center is we put a cup of room temperature water into a vacuum chamber, and we put it under partial vacuum, and it will start to boil at room temperature.
Right.
So you can, under certain conditions, if you put this under a slight vacuum, now you can have liquid water go to steam, not by temperature but by pressure.
Yeah, you go the
and
gas
create
phase
an enormous
change.
amount of pressure again. And you don't have to add a lot of heat. Yeah.
So anyway, the point is that there are some really amazing, elegant solutions here within. He basically points out, and when you see this, it's like, well, yeah, of course. Like, wow. So you mean like now we have a big power plant and drive up Route 7 the next chance you get to go to the Steubenville area, and you see these giant cooling towers, and you go, okay, so wait,
what are you doing?
They heat it up and then they have to just cool it down and all this is wasted energy. It's not
A
even.
lot of wasted energy.
So, okay, the other thing I'll just say before passing out of the steam zone here, getting out of the steam bath, the place where this was applied, I think I can't remember which car it was. Again, I'm going to say probably Volvo or one of the companies that maybe are in Norway or Finland, where they maybe study science a little bit more than we do here. They realized that you could use all of that, the heat from your exhaust system,
right.
to run a system like this. But here they thought, do we want to use water? And they said no, because you could have
Alcohol.
other phase change things that give you the power and work more efficiently and maybe don't rust. I mean, there are so many good aspects to this that are ignored.
Water and metals with heat is a bad combination.
Well, and part of this TED Talk, and I really would encourage people to watch it when you get a chance, he points out that, like if you had these little small, like we're talking 10 or 15 horsepower steam engines, well, what do you really need to run them? Well, you could put them in, first of all, you could put them in conjunction with solar too, and you could store it if you wanted. But then again, if you're going to do this, maybe you're going to use wood or you're going to use biomass. He's a big advocate for biomass pellets.
I am too.
Something we talked about a lot before. The idea being that you would take something as your heat source that's already going to be a carbon neutral thing, and you could be growing. It could be maybe you're a farmer and then you're going to use all your corn husks. You've already gotten that. The other cool thing about it is the system produces distilled water. So you have distilled water. So I'm thinking, you have distilled water, you have heat, you have a little generator, so you have your electricity to run your microwave and your Keurig coffee maker. I mean, on and on and on. There are so many cool, elegant things that it's just so frustrating that we
really
find
is
ourselves
elegant.
All right, so speaking of elegant, one of the things that Robert always insists that if I run across anything that shows that, once again, Einstein was right about something, I'm obligated by contract.
Yes.
So
read the fine and large print.
well, and I do also remember that one of Robert's favorite Einstein quotes when we're talking to kids about magnets is Einstein. Oh, he knew all this and all that, and his wife explained to him about Brownian motion, so he knew about that. She said, "Did you move these brownies from?" No, that's a little science joke for people who will understand that. One of the things that he said was, if I just understood magnetism, he said,
if I only understood how this little magnetic compass works, that's what I really want to know.
So the reason why this was fascinating to me was just here on, I guess it was Thursday. This is the folks from Osaka University completing, wait a minute, I'm going, what? You're completing Einstein's homework on special relativity in electromagnetism. Now, when Robert looks here, you're seeing this weird, what is this pink thing you're going? What is this? It's the illustration of the formation process of a planar electric field, which is contracting because, it says contracting, I'm trying to get the thing, I lost the...
I did too.
They have a near light speed electron beam, which is shown by this little piece to the right. See that little oval thing?
Yep.
And one of the things that, and again, I was not so aware of this, I didn't realize it was a continuing piece of Einstein's work that needed proof. But basically, they're showing that all the things that Einstein predicted about how this, like the near light speed electron beam going through electromagnetic fields, he had predicted these contractions. The contraction of an electric field around the electron beam moving at close to the speed of light.
Wow.
So in his...
Look at that.
If you scroll down, it says, in the theory of special relativity, he proposed that in order to properly describe the motion of objects moving past an observer speed, he goes into Lorentz transformations.
Right.
This is complex stuff about, space-time continuum.
That mixes the coordinates of space and time.
And he said he was able to explain how these transformations made the equations for electric and magnetic fields consistent.
Okay.
So people are going, well, yeah, but, can we test this? And literally, this is one of those things where finally, it says they accomplished by measuring the profile of the Coulomb field in space and time around a high-energy electron beam. Using ultra-fast electro-optic samplings, they were able to record the electric field with extremely high temporal resolution. And then, if you scroll down, there's a lot of stuff that'll make you go, gosh, I wish I listened in my physics class. So basically, they says we visualize the contraction of the electric field around an electron beam propagated close to the speed of light. And they had an electron, accelerate. He basically says that it turns out that Einstein's numbers were very
thought
close.
experiment worked, huh?
Yeah, it said while developing the theory, he used thought experience. It's something poetic demonstrating that the relativistic effect of electric fields more than 100 years after it was predicted by Einstein. And in the electric fields were the crucial element in the formation of the theory in the first place,
Right.
as he did his thought experiments.
Yeah. Wow.
And basically his numbers came out real close to, exactly what they were able to observe. So is that
you have fulfilled your contract?
Man, I'm telling you, isn't that a great little story?
That's awesome.
That Einstein guy, he did a few good things.
Yes.
Oh man, we have so many stories here. I'm trying to figure what would be more important as I will probably move quite a few of these. I want to say, let's go, since you were looking into the sky last night, let's jump over there's a really good story in the medical world about pancreatic cancer, and that's really good news. Gamma burst. Record-breaking gamma burst observed, possibly the most powerful explosion ever recorded. Well, that shouldn't hurt us, should it, Robert?
No, it shouldn't. So are these from two neutron stars?
It says in the early morning hours
Slamming into each other?
This was like just on my dad's birthday. How nice that was. The Gemini
cool.
South Telescope in Chile and operated by the National Science Foundation, observed an unprecedented aftermath of one of the most powerful explosions ever recorded. Let's see if
2.4 billion light years away.
Wow.
Wow.
So let me see, I'm just going to scroll down and see. Mine's not scrolling as fast as I'd like to, but it says one of the twin telescopes, as you mentioned, the targeted the bright glowing remains of an explosion which likely heralded a supernova giving birth to a black hole.
Okay, so it was a supernova.
Yeah,
it wasn't two neutron stars slamming into each other.
So I think they're probably still working on the data, but that's their.
Okay.
I mean, this is kind of cool stuff. But then you're thinking, okay, so they observed it, and it was pretty far away, Robert. Jeez.
Wow.
It said it's the brightest ever recorded, and its afterglow is smashing all records at all wavelengths. It's once-in-a-century opportunity to address some of the fundamental questions regarding these explosions, from the formation of black holes to test of dark matter models. All right. Anyway, this has got a bunch of cool stuff there.
Very cool.
It explains some of their.
Boy, this was a long article.
Well, it does, and they're touting a lot of the really good technology, interspersed with a whole bunch of like pop-up ads for buying gold that I can't seem to get rid of.
I am not getting any gold ads. Mine are to sell gold.
Oh, good. All right, so this is cool. Very cool little
awesome.
story there. The gamma burst. All right, you know what? Let us go back to the pank, because I remember now that I thought this was a really cool story, and I have known this to be an issue for actual family members and other loved ones. The thing that is so cool about this is anybody who is, and even as we were talking earlier about West Virginia University's Medical Center is going to be relocating something right up the street here, a big cancer center,
literally a block away.
At the former OVMC. This is a story about, probably, as they say, they gave some actual statistics on pancreatic cancer that they're talking about how it's like in the population, it's relatively a low occurring, but it's a high death rate from this particular cancer.
So it says with mice, of course, while most mouse trials consider simply halting growth a success, the new treatment completely eliminated tumors in 80% of the mice.
This is good number.
That's amazing, because if you have this, the best thing that you can do is to slow it down.
Stop it would be wonderful. Here's the number I was looking for.
But that you can completely eliminate 80% of the tumors.
So think about this number, because as a math little thing, 3.2. It's only 3.2 of all cancer cases.
Yeah.
Pancreas is only 3.2, but it causes but it's the
third
third leading cause of death.
cancer-related death.
Wow.
So it's a very rare cancer, but it's a very dangerous cancer.
And the thing about, again, why this is such, again, as Robert pointed out, there are so many good news stories.
There are.
The reason why
this is a very good news story.
The reason why this is so elegant is that basically it says that it's using traditional chemotherapy drugs, but rather than having some electron beam and destroying healthy tissue, they implant the iodine 131 directly into the tumor with a gel-like deposit system.
Okay,
that protects healthy tissue and is absorbed by the body after the radiation fades away. It's designed to be like a time thing.
Wow.
As the radiation goes through, it disappears and loses its
half-life. Yeah.
Then the material and everything that protects this also is absorbed by the body too. It's not like
that's brilliant.
It's a bunch of really elegant approaches to a horrendous situation. And again, one of those stories that should just make folks, this is biomedical engineering at Duke. And West Virginia University has also expanded hugely its biomedical engineering department. Looking across engineering and medicine as they used to be things that, we'll maybe check with you, but now it's a big area of mutual research.
This is really, it says the iodine 31 once it decays into a harmless form of xenon, which is an inert gas.
Jeez.
So it's like...
Can I say, I'm going to say elegant one more time.
That is really smart. So, it doesn't even make something that the body can absorb.
Wow.
It just, you're essentially going to just, the xenon will become dissolved in the bloodstream, and you'll probably just breathe it out. And there's no ill effects from xenon at all.
Oh, this is interesting too, because it said they go on, if for folks who want to get deep into it, it's elastin, so these are flexible, elastin-like polypeptides, synthetic chains of amino acids. This is the part that's cool. It exists in a liquid state at room temperature, right? But when it goes into your body in a slightly warmer thing, then it forms a stable gel.
Again, brilliant.
It's like your popsicle not melting. It's really. All right, this is very cool. I just thought I certainly didn't want to skimp on that story because it's probably one of the
that is magnificent news.
Best news stories that. Okay, so let's just. I'm going to say, because we've had many folks that we know who are very interested in volcanism and. Not like live long and prosper volcanism, but volcanoes. I did run across a quick story as I was looking for something else. I put it right next to my story that we have yet to get to on the transition zone, which we may or may not get to. Coming soon, the transition zone.
Coming soon to a Radio
next to the last story is volcano at the end of the list there.
So research reveals magma activity beneath Mount Edgecumbe.
Edgecumbe. So I'm thinking, that sounds like, where is that in? Maybe it's in, It's
southeast Alaska.
Oh no, it's close. So here's a cool story. Magma beneath a long dormant volcano in southeast Alaska has been moving upward through Earth's crust. The Alaska Volcano Observatory. And there's a word that's probably not comfortable, is that it's rapidly.
Yeah, that isn't good. Because it can only go so far until it comes to the surface.
Well, there is that. It says that Mount Edgecumbe, I guess it's Edgecumbe. It sounds like it could be a British name, but I don't know.
So it could be Combe.
The modeling based on satellite shows that magma is rising to about 6 miles from a depth of about 12 miles.
Well,
so wait a minute, let me think.
It's halfway
there. And this next paragraph,
it's causing earthquakes and significant surface deformation.
Now I'm going to give you the next paragraph, and then
that's the fastest rate of volcanic deformation that we currently have in Alaska, said the research paper's author. Wow. And while it's not uncommon for volcanoes to deform, the activity at Edgecumbe is unusual because reactivation of a dormant volcanic system is rarely observed. So they can't well model what is about to happen.
Oh, except they do model, and they say in the very next sentence, which,
Oh, okay.
which they want to make, I
An
think,
eruption is not imminent, they say.
Grapenthin, that's what I mean.
After I just said that it's probably not easy to model. So.
And Dr. Grapenthin said that because I don't know. Apparently he has been selling his real estate in local. No, it's not.
And moving to Florida.
Anyway, so this is just a little cautionary, like, first take on some of the stuff that's happening, and
So we might be reporting on this again.
well, we're going to be
Says
looking
the
at it.
upward deformation began abruptly in August 2018 and continued at a rate of 3.4 inches annually for a total of 10.6 inches through early 2022. Subsequent computer modeling indicates the cause was the intrusion of new magma.
Anyway,
I'm
this
saying magma.
So that's one we will be keeping an eye on, and I'm sure the folks in Alaska will be very.
Mount Edgecombe is 15 miles west of Sitka,
Yeah.
which has a population of about 8,500 residents. Last erupted 800 to 900 years ago. So
We probably got time.
surely we have time. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it's, as Robert says, it's just kind of like that old mathematical thing that I remember where the guy would, two guys were running and one of them could run twice as fast. And so, in the time it took this guy to run 12 miles, the one guy had runs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that nothing ever happened because it was, that math trick that they played on us.
Sure.
So
Which
this
means
one
that
was at
it will
12.
never erupt.
So
yeah.
was it 12 miles and now it's gone to,
to 6? Yeah.
and so if it were going to 6 to 3, we're still good.
And then 1.5,
Yeah,
and then
don't worry.
a point 0.75. Yeah.
Robert, cancel our salmon fishing trip to the.
Oh no, not again!
Again.
This is the third year in a row.
We need to call all those guys. Tony, what's his name? The folks that are up there in Alaska, getting all that gold. They need to be warned. Quick.
Run.
All right, now talking about people to keep your eye on. I'm telling you that my son was watching something, and some guy, it was some economist or something, and he was going on about how things worked, and he was talking about this stock in this company called Radiance.
Radiance.
And because he was saying, actually, to be fair, it was a story about the fact that he said he thinks these guys, they make no bones about sort of implying that maybe they're reverse engineering things from.
You mean alien technology?
Well, and the other thing too is, of course, they call themselves Radiance not because they're selling radiators or anything.
But because they're so bright.
Maybe that's it too. But it's because if you click on the first thing they show, you obviously see that for people who would like to microwave their coffee at a great distance. I think they're even plugged.
Remote microwaving coffee.
Yeah. Oh, in the case, but now wait a minute. I misspoke. One of their big things is they're into like beam stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like directed energy. That's the word.
Oh, awesome.
Directed energy sounds so much nicer. You go over there.
So this is the Radiance Technologies Innovation Bowl,
Yeah.
an academic competition with a $25,000 grant prize for the first team that fries the last team.
No, I don't think
No?
that. Anyway, and I did misspeak. I was thinking this was their microwave beam thing, but no, it's actually their experimental mobile high energy laser.
All right.
See, I was mistaken. Now the only thing is, since we have very little time, this is a really interesting thing. They're working my thing won't scroll down. I want to scroll down to their partners. Here's our
okay.
promises,
Let's see if I can find the partners.
our
Directed
solutions. They have a great thing where everything pops
Artificial
together.
intelligence,
Ooh,
yeah.
cyber, AI,
Microelectronics.
that's it. Directed energy is their big suit here. High energy lasers, high power.
Hypersonics.
HPMs. They have high power microwaves.
Space.
There's probably things. So you'd be thinking, do they do anything that benefits? Like normal people.
Whoa! So our customers and partners, we've got United
here's
States
Hyper.
Army, DARPA,
Okay.
Missile, Air, and Space Intelligence.
That's what I wanted you to get to.
Virtual Programming,
Where is-
United States Special Operations Command, Red Flag, Alaska.
Now, if you
PMS,
click, it'll just keep going. So go ahead.
Wow.
Why don't you read these while I'm going to try to get the music up
National
here.
Security Agency. What's that?
Look at all these great
Missile
little
Defense
badges.
Agency. These are slick.
Okay, keep reading because I'm going to
The-
find the music and I'm going to get it started.
The armament Research Development
Those guys?
Engineering Center, U.S. Department of Homeland Security.
Did you know that it actually, look, mine just keeps moving if I don't even do anything. Is yours moving?
Maybe because I was doing something. Nevada Test and Training Range.
Maybe you have to click yours. I don't know why mine.
maybe
I'm all the way up to the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, PMSI, which I don't even know what that is. Well, why would I know, right? What is going on here?
Naval Meteorology and Oceanography.
Oh, there's Ars Sempra Lori. There's
Wow, there's some good stuff.
oh, they have the Department of the Army. Thank goodness.
And then there are some that have no words on them. You are just supposed to know what's going on.
Oh, even Louisiana Entertainment. I don't even know.
Yeah, these are cool. And it now came back around. So yeah.
So you know what's really cool is that if they were just invested in a company that makes all these patches, you could. It's gonna be like NASCAR. Oh, wait a minute. Task Force Odin.
What is Task Force Odin?
I don't know. You got to be there for that, though.